Welcome to the road to a million. What number is it, Katie? What week is it today?
98.
Welcome to week number 98, guys. You guys have made it. Someone like Marie and Janessa have been here from literally day one. And some of you guys have been here for lots of the, lots of the calls and super grateful. I just want to just remind you guys of how grateful I am. I look forward to this call literally for 167 hours a week. I look forward to this call. Like it is so fun. I was telling Kay this last night. I was like, one of the benefits of this call is that all the bad things, I label things bad, things that happen in my life, I get an opportunity to share them on this call. And so all of a sudden I can let go of these feelings inside me. I can just like, ugh, I can puke it out. And you guys think it's cool, which makes me feel a lot better about it. And so I'm dead serious. Like this call is so valuable. And I just appreciate you guys so much for giving us this opportunity to be able to bleh on you guys, because it just makes us feel better. It makes us want to continue to push. It makes us want to continue to do crazy, crazy things. And I think that by us being able to like really set that bar and that standard what's out there, I think you're forced if you stay on these calls and you get in the slipstream, you get in the draft, right? Like you're gonna get pulled with. And I think a lot of you guys maybe some cautiously understand that, but consciously, like that's the benefit of being on this call is that you guys get to watch us grow this freaking business from zero to now $2.8 million dollars. And we're definitely going to push much further past that in 2026. And yeah, just think you guys are being part of this. It's super grateful to have you guys as yeah as peers, as partners, like some of you guys friends, and very grateful for it. So
I like that Logan goes "Wah" to everybody, but my favorite part is that it reminds me that the hard is worth it because you guys all keep showing up, which makes the hard okay. Sometimes I think entrepreneurs, our biggest like problem is ourself and the ability to overcome our own story about hard. And you guys remind me every single week that our hard it's worth it because you guys keep showing up. So
yeah,
appreciate you making the hard easier to go through.
yeah, yeah, guys. And a couple weeks ago, at the beginning of the year, we started out by talking about unreasonable goals. And so, if you guys were not on that call, you guys can. There's a couple places you guys can go find that. But it's how to hit unreasonable goals in 2026, and that's really the theme of what we've been talking about um, last week and before, and then even this week as well. We're talking about hitting unreasonable goals. And so, if you guys are ever want to go back and listen to these calls, you guys can listen to that on the podcast. So James will drop the link for the podcast on either Apple or Spotify. Those are the two main places that you guys can go listen to previous episodes. YouTube. I just started uploading these calls to YouTube. So there's like apparently a podcast section on YouTube. So and I've watched the data and like people are watching this on YouTube on just podcasts, not even the video version, just like the audio version. I'm like, okay, people are watching it there. We're also just started uploading the videos onto YouTube as well. And so if you're just like a YouTube person, you can watch it there. If you're inside the free home cleaning courses group, there's a module called Road to a Million Replays. You guys can watch it in there. And if you guys are in the home cleaning mentorship, there's a module called Road to a Million Replays in there. So like, those are all the places you guys can ever go to listen to replays. And it's funny, guys, because like I've been listening to the replays and I'm like, ah, good advice. I should take my own advice. And so yeah, just unreasonable goals. So that's what we started with a couple weeks ago. And then really, we talked about the framework of how to hit unreasonable goals. And last week, we talked about unreasonable commitment, right? And the whole section was on how do you have the courage to commit, right? And so you guys come back and listen to that one. And today, we're going to be talking about unreasonable humility, right? Unreasonable humility to learn. And so I just had a call this morning with three of the biggest businesses inside our home cleaning mentorship. And at one point, not too long ago, all those people were doing one-on-one coaching, and I sold them on this new idea of like, let's do a small group mastermind style coaching group. And they all agreed to it. And so this morning we had our call, and every single person in that room is doing over $100,000 a month. And at the end of the call, it was cool because they all showed their data. They showed their data, and they all talked about the problems they had. And I told them the same thing. I was like you guys all got problems. Congratulations, right? And it was cool because they were all very aware of it. And not only were they aware of it, but they were looking for it. And it is no mistake of why their businesses are the biggest, is because they just continue to want to solve the problems in their business, which means they're actively looking for them. And we're going to be talking about the different levels of humility, and how humility, how it can show up. But one of the ways is to not let your successes um, make you think you're better than you are, but actually let them realize that like how far you have to go. And I think that's one of the things that I love of being in that specific room, is because everyone is like, I suck. I want to do better. I'm not good enough. I'm not growing fast enough. It's like so funny, so funny. And I'm like, I love being in this room. At the same time, though, self-deprecation, which is something we're going to talk about today, helplessness, like that's not the path. It's not the path to growth. And so, whether you're somebody who's a self-deprecator, or you're somebody who is like so certain that you just know, no, no, I know. Like the middle is what we're talking about today. And that's humility. It's actually having awareness of where you are and where you want to be, where you ought to be. So without further ado, let's dive in, Katie. Let's talk about the most expensive habit in business, guys: being right. So
No.
we're gonna talk about the humility to learn, but before we do, let's actually break that definition down. We did this last week, and I love speaking terms. I love speaking the same terms. Make sure we're on the same page, where I'm saying some things, you guys are understanding the same things. Right? So let's break down the word humility. So how many of you guys know what the word humility actually means? You guys have heard it. You guys have heard people talk about it. You have context. You can say it like in context, but like, can you actually define it? So, Katie, share the definition of humility. And guys, just as a thing, like this is not a Webster definition. Okay, this is not something that you can Google. This is something that I'm like, how do you actually make the definition useful? I learned this from one of my mentors. Is like most definitions they're not useful. Like, how do you make the definition useful? How do you make it so like it sounds like it is, right? So, Katie, what is the definition of humility?
Humility is seeing yourself clearly without overconfidence or self-deprecation.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now, if we were to take humility and put it into action, what does humility look like when we put it into action, Katie?
Knowing what you know and knowing what you don't, and moving forward anyways.
Mm, yeah, that's that's a good one, guys. And these definitions, like while you guys are on here, you guys can steal them. Katie's going to put them in the chat, so you guys can go in there and you got them in the chat. Remember, at all the places I said, you guys can go find the replays. If you guys go into the free home cleaning courses group or the home cleaning mentorship group, all of our notes that we prepared for this call, they're in there. Okay, and you guys can go back through there and you guys can go through them and grab those definitions. But right now, if you guys are active, you guys are here, you guys are present, you guys can go steal the definitions. Katie's putting them in the chat. Okay. And so, like I talked about earlier, if we just understand that humility is on an axis, it's on a spectrum. Okay. On one end of the spectrum, we have hopelessness. I can't do it. Poor me. And then the other side of the spectrum is certainty. I know. Where we want to be is we want to be in between those two things. And that's what we call humility. Okay. So we have definition one of humility down. Now let's talk about learning. Some of you guys might know this definition. I've said this quite a few times. This is a definition I stole from one of my mentors as well. And again, I've just massaged it just a little bit. But Katie, what is the definition of learning?
Learning is choosing a different behavior under the same conditions.
Yeah. So if we take that definition and we put it into action, okay, what does it look like? What does learning look like in action?
If the conditions repeat and your behavior doesn't change, you did not learn.
I know, I know, I know. Well, why didn't you change your behavior? Some of you guys have kids. You're like, I know. You're like, well, why didn't your behavior change? Why are you still doing the same thing if you know so much? That would be learning in action. What is another learning in action moment here, Katie?
Learning doesn't show up in your head, but it shows up in your actions next time.
Again, just like how we can tell someone's learning is not what they say, it's not what they've read, right? Just like it shows up in their actions. And it's my favorite way to be able to see if somebody learned is like same conditions, different behavior. It's very simple. So now we have the definition of humility and we have the definition of learning. What do those two things mean together in context?
So we're going to combine the definitions now. So the humility to learn is seeing yourself clearly and changing your behavior when the same conditions repeat.
There you go. So when you guys hear me talk about this, like humility to learn as one of the skills required in order for you to build $1 million business, like this is what it means. It means you have to have the humility to see yourself clearly and change your behavior when you experience the same conditions, when the same conditions repeat. Right? That's what it means. That's one to write down. That's one to write down. Okay. Or you can just copy it from the chat. This is school. So the platform that we use to host both the free home cleaning courses group and the home cleaning mentorship is on a platform called School. And all you guys who are inside those platforms, you have seen that school is spelled funny, right? Skool. And so it is cool that in this school you are encouraged to copy. How many of you guys ever got in trouble for copying in school in School? Any of you guys? A couple of you guys, a couple of you rule breakers. Some of you guys are rule followers. You're like, I would never do such a thing. I was a good student.
I was a good student, but I also got caught copying.
Yeah. If it wasn't for copying, I wouldn't have made it through college. I would not have. Um, and yeah, I was doing the best I could, and that's what I had to do. But in this version of school, you guys are very much encouraged to copy. And so copy the definitions. When you guys see information, you guys see systems, like copy them. Like the answer is like it's like how many of you guys like maybe you guys were the straight A student or you guys knew the straight A student. Like if you could just like copy their paper, or maybe you're the person who everyone wanted to copy, like just find that person or be that person and like just copy them. And I think in this case, like Katie is the straight A student. Like she has the businesses. She has a $2.8 million business. Like copy her. Like just follow her stuff. It works. Copy her. Right? And I think that's why you guys are on this call. Like you want to copy. You want to copy somebody who has shown that they're getting good grades. But in the real world, nobody cares about your report card. What do they care about, Katie?
Your bank account.
They care about your bank account. They care about your financial statement. Like when a banker, when you're trying to get a loan for whatever you're trying to get a loan for, a car, a house, some sort of asset, a business, right? Banker's going to want to see your adult report card, which is your financial statement. Okay. That's how you get rated. What do you own? What do you owe? What's the difference? It's very simple. Okay. And so humility to learn. Now that we have the definition, what does it look like, Katie? What are a few things that humility to learn looks like in action?
Yeah. So the willingness to let reality correct you without defending your ego.
Mm. Talk a little personally about this, Katie. Talk about some of your like as your humility to learn has increased over the last few years.
I mean, this has been probably my biggest hurdle to have to overcome. Um, because I love to defend my ego. I like to be right. And this business, the coolest part about the cleaning business in particular is you get so many reps every single day to be able to put your ego aside. And I think this business has taught me the most in the shortest amount of time due to the sheer volume of ego reps that I get in a daily basis to honestly just take full responsibility, even if it's not my fault, just take the full responsibility and course correct.
You know, it's funny. Julie says in the chat because you're a good student, right? And so like as Kate actually graduated the exact same year, the exact same commencement. We did not know each other in college whatsoever. We didn't even know each other until I think 3 years after college, after the college graduation, or what was it 1 year? 2 years graduate? No, 11, 14. Yeah, so 3 years afterwards. And so when you graduate, like I said, when we graduated, um, they gave you a couple different status symbols of how they could differentiate really the smart kids from the dumb kids who graduated, right? We had different levels of graduates. And the smart kids, they had their little tassel that was, what color was it? I
I
don't,
don't remember blue. I think it was a different color than everybody else's.
yeah, yeah. And then the dumb kids like myself, we had just the black one, right? So you had the fancy tassel and you had the didn't. And then I think if you had like a 4.0, maybe you got like a sash or something, I think, for all the people who got like 4.0
Yes.
or something. Yeah, I don't remember those people. They were in a different world than me. Um, but yeah, it was funny because Katie was a good student. She got the fancy tassel, right? She got the fancy tassel, and I was C's get degrees. That was the anthem. Like I just, I barely got by. Um, and and I think that's where like that one has been challenging for Katie because like literally the title of this call, the most expensive lesson, most expensive thing in business is being right. Like when you've been trained, you've been reinforced for being right. It's hard to admit you're wrong. And I just was never trained. I was never reinforced on being right because I just wasn't right a lot. And so I just learned to be okay with being wrong. And I think that's also what's allowed me to actually grow faster. Is just like, I'm okay being wrong. And so I think this is where I'm like, I'm really strong in this realm. I'm really quick to change. And Katie is definitely, she has a little bit more pushback. She's like, no,
So
you're
much more
wrong.
pushback.
Yeah. So
Even if it's not the irony here is my ego will get in the way, even when the outcome is not in my favor, I would prefer to be right.
yeah.
Like that's an ego. Like that is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something we'll talk about later on too. It's just like most people will actually they will desire to be right over actually doing the right thing. They will prioritize being right
Like,
over doing the
for
right thing.
sure.
So okay. Another humility to learn in action, Katie.
Yeah, assuming you're capable of more even when you're winning. This made me think of your call this morning with all of the biggest cleaning business owners in our community. Everybody's winning in there, but everybody is wanting to do more,
Yeah.
believing.
Super fun. Super fun being a room of humble people because it's like the probability of them growing is very high because of like the formula for growth is learning. And you learn when you start to look for it, you're like, how do I get better? What do I need to do? Right. And one of the pieces of advice is also like, it's also not getting distracted with doing something different. And that was like the biggest piece of advice I gave to that room specifically. And a lot of you guys who are in the mentorship, you guys can also benefit from this advice is that like the inputs that are required to grow the business, like they're inside the system you guys are using. Like there is nothing that's missing. Like you don't need to do any sort of organic content. You need to do any sort of giveaways. You don't need to do anything different. You just need to do what you're doing. You need to do it more. You do it better, and then you do it more again. And that's where people struggles because they want different. They want variety. They want the grass has got to be greener. Like I see somebody else doing this in a different market and different business, and somebody who's famous. And the reality is like what people do now is much different than they did when they were where you were at, as an example. Like if you're trying to compare yourselves to the Alex Hermosis or the Mr. Beasts or the Grant Cardones or the people who are famous on the internet today, the Cody Sanchez's, like what they do today is not what they did to get to Cody Sanchez's like her track record. You know, what Alex did to get $100 million net worth wasn't what he's doing today. And this is where people, you got to have context on like what you did to get there versus what you're doing now. And like what you do now, a lot of it has to do with what you did back then. And so for you guys right now, it's just like you got to do the thing first. Like you actually have to have a track record. Like do the thing. And doing the thing, if you listen to any of the influencers talk, like doing the thing is hard. Like Layla actually had a video where she talks about like the path to $10 million is riddled with pain. It is very hard. And then it's like then the path to 10 billion is actually like you need less pain in your life. And so it's just like there's just different seasons. And so I think that's also back to the reason of the value of this call of like this is the like we're showing you guys exactly the path from 0 to 3, what we had done. Like you guys have been on this journey. When we started this call, our business was doing 1.1 million. So like we've literally, you guys have watched us grow by $2 million in a year, per year. Like it's all within the last 98 weeks of this call. Like it's all been documented. Like everything is inside here. Like there is no secret. It's just the amount of volume that's been getting done and the consistency in which it's getting done and the learning that we've had along the way. And if you guys are on here for the next year, that number is going to go up. How much? TBD, AKA to be determined. Do you like that? That's good. So anyway, another one, Kitty. What's another humility to learn in action?
Yeah, I think this one I do better than the being right. Um, we update fast. We do not sulk in mistakes, in failures, in we don't write stories tied to those failures. We just course correct.
Yeah, one of the biggest keys. And again, if you guys have watched the last 98 weeks, like we've told a lot of stories. We've had a lot of things that have happened, a lot of changes that were made. And it's funny because um, there was this one point in the mentorship where I just like kept on making like updates. Hey, here's version 2.0, here's version 3.0. And some people were getting a little frustrated. And I was like, wow, like as soon as we get better information, we get better systems, like as long as it's been tested and as long as it's been proven, then it's going to get released. And so there is a testing period before it does get released. But I mean, we're still small. We only have so much to test. We only have, you know, so many clients, so many cleaners that we get to test from. And so like we just got to do the best we can, get a small sample size, and then we kick it out. But we got to update fast, and that's part of the game. And I think that's why the mentorship is so cool, is because like it really is like a big test, guys. And you know, in the next couple of years, as we get more and more businesses, we have more and more tests that don't work and more tests that do work. Then yeah, like the value of it is just that like once somebody gets it to work, once somebody gets to 2 million, there'll be a path to get to 2 million, and then boom, then somebody will get to 3 million. Then there should be these paths and these systems on how to get there. And then at the like what I first see happening is that every single person will know exactly the inputs required and the resources required in order to get from where they at to where they want to go. And so then the choice just becomes like, do you have the courage to commit? Do you have the humility to learn? Do you have the conviction to sell? And do you have the self-control to follow the plan? Like you're just gonna have to choose between all four of those things. But like here's the path is laid out. And it's gonna put the ball, it's gonna put the autonomy for you to make the decision. All right, Katie. Next one. This is what we just talked about, which is
Yeah, this one I struggle with. You're more interested in getting the right answer than being right.
yeah, yeah. Something that I just like, I really jive with this one. I connect with this one. Again, I have no problem being wrong. I just want to know the right answer. Like, I'm talking about this a lot too. Like, sometimes people ask me, like, hiring's probably the best example. And I tell the story to my team about there was a cleaner that we hired in the third month of Mesa 5-star cleaning, and I originally wasn't going to hire her. And the reason why was because I had two other people who I'd offered the job to, and I liked them a lot. And I was like, there's nothing special about this person. There's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing special about her. And like out of all the interviews I've ever done, I've done I don't know. I bet I've done thousands of interviews by this point between both Mesa and Bozeman. And I actually like watched this one on the big screen. I put this in my our TV in our room, and I watched this interview. I'm like, Katie, tell me why like I shouldn't hire this person. I'm like, I don't. For some reason, it was bugging me. And she's like, you should hire her. I was like, okay, I did. And the irony was that the other two people who I'd offered, neither of them showed up to onboarding. This girl did, and that was 78 weeks ago. We hired her, and you guys want to know how many times that she has had zero absences in the 78 weeks that she's been on our team?
Three.
She
Super
has
close there, Dario. Yeah.
75 bonus weeks. By the way, those three absences were like RTOs that she had like, and I can remember all three of them. She went back to see her grandma. Like she has had zero call outs, zero. And that girl is a freaking stud. One of the people actually have a lot of respect for that, for her. And as I got to learn her story too, she's actually a cancer survivor as well. Like she had childhood cancer, and I just have a lot of respect for that girl. And she's somebody who wants to serve. Some of you guys um, talked about her before, and like I was wrong. I was wrong. And and I've told her that story, and I told the team that story, and like this is why, like guys, I don't know, I don't know, and I'm okay not knowing. I'm okay not being right. And I'd rather be wrong and bring the right person and have the right person be on the team than me be right and not bring the right person on the team. I think that's what this lesson is trying to tell us is like it's okay being wrong. Like, you don't know. Like give people an opportunity to show you. Because like off one Zoom interview and one phone interview, you don't have enough context to make a decision. Like bring people in. That person changed my life. Not just from what she's done, but the belief that she broke for me. I will never miss out on a superstar by saying no. Cool. And then lastly, what is the
Humility
value?
allows you to change your behavior fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when you're okay with what you were doing is not working, then you can just change your behavior. And that's what allows you to actually change your inputs. And when you change your inputs, you have a chance to change your outcomes. It's the only way. Like it's like if you continue to do the same inputs, you will never get a different outcome. So, but if you're tied to the way you're doing things, in-person sales, like some people are tied to in-person sales, walkthroughs because they're good at it. Like you'll never grow $1 million business doing in-person sales in a reasonable amount of time. If you do it, sure. If you do it in the next 40 years, fine, go for it. But if you want to grow $1 million business in the next 2 years, like you'll never do it with in-person sales unless here's the caveat. I'll tell you guys this because this is actually true. If you're doing commercial, you're doing big accounts, you can do in-person sales because the price point makes enough sense. But 99% of people in here are doing residential home cleaning, and your average ticket price is going to be somewhere between $200 and $300. Like you'll never get enough volume to do that with in-person walkthroughs. As an example, so you got to change your behavior. You got to get on phone sales. You have to learn how to do phone sales. As an example, marketing. You'll never get enough lead flow, enough of those sales with just doing referrals, just asking your current clients if they have friends, right? Just like having an internet presence isn't enough, my friends. You must learn how to attract strangers. Right? You'll never grow $1 million business in a reasonable time frame by only hiring people you know, family members of them, cousins, right? Like you have to actually be able to bring in strangers and get them to buy in like a family member, and sometimes even more than a family members. Because sometimes family members are like they get entitled. And by the way, they don't get entitled. You create entitlement because like you let them
Mhm.
skip steps. And this is something that I've seen happen and something that I'm actually very, very conscious of. And I can remember when this happened. I was a kid, and my dad was actually a baseball coach. He was my baseball coach, right? And so I saw this trend as a kid, and I saw that there was two types of parents. There was the parents who like did everything for their kids and they like catered to their kids. And then I saw the other type of a parent coach who was like, sorry for you, but like you actually last and you got to work your way up. And my dad was that way. I was last and I had to work my way up. And I didn't like it as a kid, but now like I super much appreciate it. And that's more my style now is like I'm very conscious that if anything, my family members, Katie, Kobe, Laney, like they have a harder time because like the standard is like you start here and you have to like work your way up versus all you guys like you could just start in the middle. Like you have it's fair, but like those guys they got to work their like they got to start back. Um, I don't know, it is what it is. But yeah, changing your behavior fast, super important. So okay, so um, Katie, let's talk about this. What does unreasonable humility look like as well here? So we have my fault or my responsibility. Okay. And so this is a lot of times I see this inside the community. I see people will blame their cleaners specifically. Usually cleaners are the easiest ones to blame. And their cleaners break things. They don't do a good job in the client's home. There's a myriad of reasons um, that I see that cleaning business owners, they get frustrated and they point the finger. And I actually learned this from Lainey. We started talking about this, and she said this, and she said this quote. And if any of you guys have ever been out to our house and being able to interact with us, like Lainey is like a little parrot, right? She's a little parrot of us, and she's definitely brainwashed. She does not she like what we say here is what we say at the dinner table. And I treat her like a cleaning business owner. She's just 6 years old. I'll tell you guys a
She's a plum full of one-liners.
yeah, she's plumb full one-liners. If you guys are having trouble with sales, she'll role play with you. She knows how to role play. She just what does she say she struggles with? She struggles with like this
Square footage. She
the
doesn't
square
understand
footage.
square
Yeah, she
footage.
doesn't understand square footage, but other than that, like she can role play with the best, right? Um, but one thing she was talking about at like one of her one-liners was like it might not um, oh it's always your fault or something like that. And I was like, you know what, Laney, I like that idea, but like, how about this? What if we say it might not be my fault, but it's still my responsibility? And so I think a lot of us would resonate with that because you're right, it's probably not your fault, but you know what? It's still your responsibility. And so if you just can like take that as a belief and like make it like sure, like you didn't break the thing in the client's home, but like it's still your responsibility to make sure that the situation is corrected, right?
This phrase right here allows, it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. That phrase allows people who are egotistical be able to still create a solution because we're not worried about our ego now. Now we're just worried about the
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah. And that's really what Katie said is that's actually so good. We want to be solution oriented. We want to be focused on not who caused the problem or what the problem, but just like what is the solution to the problem. That's what like the quicker we get to that, the faster that we get the outcome we're looking for, which is problem solved. Checkbox checked. Okay. Move on. We got so many of these things we got to solve. Right. And so I've seen this happen a lot with my team. And um my managers will come to me and they'll have an issue with a cleaner. And before they started to really understand this my fault, my responsibility concept, I would see a lot of like, yeah, this person's not making it. I think we should let them go, right? Like very quick to write somebody off. And so I will tell you, like based on context, like if somebody's brand new, they definitely have less. They have less less of a leash. We have one maybe two conversations, and then like if behavior doesn't change, we have to move on. But if someone's been on the team for a reasonable amount of time, then we got to believe that it's our responsibility that they don't understand. I really believe that at the heart of it, that most of cleaners, specifically teammates on our team, when they do things that are out of alignment with what the company wants, it's because either the directions were bad or their interpretations of the directions were bad. And both those are our responsibility.
Or there was no directions.
Or they just don't know where the directions are. I've also seen that happen too. It's like, yeah, I don't even know there's directions. So you guys have directions, but how easily can the person access the directions? As an example, do they even know where they are? Have they looked at them once or nuts or nuts? Okay. And so I used to see this a lot with my GMs. They would talk about they had interactions with cleaners, they were a problem. And then I just challenged them. I was like, cool. So, number one, are they aware of this? Most of the time, they weren't even aware. And then, secondly, do you know how you can fix this, or do you just have the problem? And then once they could, okay, no, they haven't been become aware. And then what is the solution? They're like, well, the solution is to do this. I'm like, cool. So why don't you just go confront this cleaner and give them opportunity to be able to change their behavior by letting them know and then giving them the path to change behavior. Do you guys think that worked? Most of the time, because most people actually want to be here. And so that would never happen though if you blamed them. If it was their fault, it's their responsibility to figure out how to get into the house. So, well, maybe you should actually use a CRM. That's a first step, right? Maybe you should have the notes updated. Right? There's like so many things that you just have to look like if you look at it from the frame of like it's your fault and you can actually make it easier for them to get into the home in the future and all the other cleaners get into the homes or whatever the issue that you're having. Like if you see it as a system problem, that's a good thing. You can fix the system, which means you can also solve this problem with the and then solve future problems to come.
And because we get so many reps at so many things in this business, it is so important that we have systems so this exhaustion of decision making does not get fatigued by the end of the day. So when it
Yeah.
is a system problem, when we have a system, every single time that a client complains, we do why. Every single time that a cleaner can't get into a house, we do why. We eliminate a lot of the decisions that we have to make every single day because we have a system to follow now.
Yeah. 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 So that's one of the big we'll call this a subcategory of the humility to learn is like it might not be your fault, but everything in your business is your responsibility. Everything. Let's move to the second subcategory. Okay. So I just want to call this one no shame, right? No shame. And really, we could just call this like no ego. And so we talked a little about college today. And so Kitty's degree was health promotion, and my degree was exercise science. And in my very last semester, I quickly realized that all the people who had graduated before me in exercise science, like none of them were getting jobs. It's like, okay, this is weird. And I realized that the majority of people who were in my degree were actually going on to physical therapy school. That's what exercise science was. Really, it was an undergrad degree to go to grad school. And I'm not joking, you guys. I had no idea about this until my very last semester. And I'm starting to look into grad school and realizing that you actually need good grades. You need to like go through, you got to take this test called the GRE. And I was like, damn, like that's not going to be a path that's available for me unless I want to like retake a whole bunch of classes, which I did look into. But then I was like, I'm going to have to try to get good grades. And like, I just didn't have the skill set to do that. So I was like, that doesn't seem like a good solution. So I was like, well, not going to go to PT school. I'm going to become a personal trainer. Like that was my path anyway. I was like, now I have to do it. And I started asking all my classmates, people who I knew, acquaintances who had graduated the semester before me and the year before me, and like none of them were getting jobs. I saw most of them like playing like pick up basketball. I'm like, dang. So like, I'm just not going to just get a job out of college. Like just because I have a degree doesn't mean that someone's going to hire me. And so at that point, I was like, shoot, I need to like figure this out. And so there was the point where I started going around and applying and started applying for front desk jobs, cleaner jobs at gyms, and nobody would hire me. And this is where I ended up finding a solution where I got on the internet and I found that there's one gym that they actually had the emails and the phone numbers of all their trainers. And so I just sent them all an email and just basically asked them if I could help them in some way. And out of all the emails I sent, only one person ended up responding back to me. His name was Sean. And I ended up meeting up with Sean and just was like, honestly, just, bro, like, can I help you? Like, is there anything I can do? Can I shadow you? Can I work for you for free so I can just try to get my foot in the door, right? And he said, sure. And so I followed that guy around for 6 freaking months and I got paid $0. And again, this is my very last semester in college. And my roommates at the time, I had five roommates. I had in this house of like six boys. As you guys can imagine, it was a madhouse, right? But I remember leaving one time to go to my job, and one of my roommates, they call me Manzo. He's like, "Hey Manzo, you're going to your job that you don't get paid for?" And I remember like just being like very upset. Like the ego was like, and like I'll never forget it. But I was like, yeah, I am. Right? Because I have no other freaking option. Like, I'm not just going to go play schoolyard basketball after I graduate and not have a freaking job. Like, I'm going to figure out how to increase probability I get a job. And so I had no shame. I followed that man around for 6 months and get paid $1, but he ended up giving me an opportunity. He ended up leading me to my first paid job in the gym, which is actually a front desk person making $7 an hour, making smoothies and coffees and folding towels. And then that eventually led me to getting a personal training job. And I think it's the no shame. And I think that moment taught me a lot of like, I'll do whatever it takes. I will work for free. I will do whatever it takes in order just to like show someone that I am willing to learn. I'm willing to work. I'm willing to do what's required. And I think that, guys, right there, like that is a frame that um, I think it's important. I think it's important. And it just shows that like it shows the willingness to be a student longer than your ego wants. Because we want to feel like we're good, we're done, and we're like we've done enough. No shame, no ego.
It's really good. The moment that you stop being a student, you stop having humility.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's talk about losing. Right. So the next subcategory of humility is losing. So we talked about winning. Right? Now let's talk about losing. Losing, guys, it's a part of the game. Okay, it's a part of the game. And so if you let the losing defeat you and you let it stop you, if you let it quit, you make it, if the only lesson you learn is to not do that thing anymore, we hired 100, over 100 cleaners in Mesa. It was like 107, 113. I can't remember which one it was.
I don't
Yeah.
remember either. 107, I think, in Mesa, more in
107
Bozeman.
in Mesa and then 113 in Bozeman. And we only have 24 cleaners in Bozeman right now and 13 in Mesa, which means, oh, it's on the sheet. The way around. 117 in Mesa, 13 in that are currently still in Mesa, and we hired 107 cleaners in Bozeman and have 24 left. We learned this because we just passed out all of our W-2s for the year, right? We had to fill out so many freaking W-2s. It's insane, right? Um, and yeah, and so most people would take that as like we should stop hiring cleaners. Right? That's the lesson that people learn. It's like I should stop doing that.
I suck at it. No one's sticking.
Yeah. My confidence today, and that's just 2025. That doesn't include 2024, 2023. We've been hiring like crazy for years now. I am more confident in hiring today than I ever have been. And it's because of all these losses, all these people that didn't work, all these people who we hired didn't show up to onboarding, the people who we hired made it through training but then quit, the people who we hired didn't even like respond to our hire message, the people who we hired, trained, were here for 2 months, and they're like, nah, too much, right? All those people we learned so much from.
Because you had the humility to see the system
Yeah,
for what it really was. And we
yeah,
changed our behavior.
yeah, yeah. This is the root of us and the cleaner retention system that we've updated in locations, and that yeah, that we're continuing to roll out. We actually just rolled it out this to Bozeman today, actually. So this is something that we've been testing in Mesa since February of last year. So this has been almost a year we've been testing this out. We just rolled out in Bozeman today. SAC will get it here soon as well. And yeah, guys, like we've been learning from all these losses, and I'm so much more confident today because of this. because of all the losing. Like it's helped us understand what we were doing wrong. And also now we're starting to get a better idea of like what gets people to stick. And that gives a better idea of what we're doing right. Right. Big one, big one, big one, big one. Right. So losing is part of the game. Some of you guys who are just starting your business, like you guys are gonna be losing time, right? Like you're gonna lose time. So we started losing cleaners, but some of you guys are losing time. Like if you guys remember, like my first 3 years in business, like I didn't make a single dollar, $0, right? No money. Spend a lot of time. And even in Mesa, this company that we just started, for the first 17 months, like Katie and I worked our butts off and we made no money. Like we worked for free again for 17 months. There's a theme here. There's a theme. So you're gonna lose time, losing money. Some of you guys have been a part of mentorships, other mentorships where you guys lost money. You guys paid someone and it didn't work out. Congratulations. Welcome to being part of the game. You're going to lose. Okay. There's like 5 big coaching / mentorships that Kate and I have been a part of that we spent significant amounts of money um, that have totaled over 200K. And by the way, that bill's still going. Like we just hired another coach. That bill's now it keeps on ticking up, right? But over the last 7 years, we've invested over $200,000 into coaching, into mentorship, and over half of that was mentorships that didn't work out. Over 100 grand of mentorships were like, yeah, we didn't get the result we were looking for. One of those mentorships, like we had one Zoom call and that was it. There was 15K out the window. It wasn't out the window. It just was part of the process. It's part of the game. But all those losses also helped us better understand of what we wanted, like what we were looking for. And so like losing money is part of the game. I was having a conversation with one of my coaching clients, and they, had an issue with a client. They did something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but the bill was going to be like $3,000-4,000, something like that, and it's part of the game. It's part of the game, right? Like you're gonna lose money on clients or cleaners breaking things, vacuums, mop sticks, bobbleheads, uh, gates. Someone's going to steal jewelry or money, right? We replaced undercarriages last year. Someone's car undercarriage. Like, it's just part of the game. Like, you're going to lose money, guys. It's part of the game. Sometimes big, thousands. We replaced glass shower doors, $2,000. Faucets, scratching faucets. And so, like, everything we got to learn from these things. And you know what we learned from a lot of those things is like, we're just going to not give the cleaners things that they can scratch things with. And so we just remove products. That's a lot of what we did. So that's what we learned from those lessons. It's like, let's not just like teach the cleaner how to use this. Like, let's just take the thing away. Very simple, right? Don't have products in your caddy that have a high probability of staining things, hurting things. Like, well, it's like, there's a specific product for this specific thing. And it's very toxic. I'm like, yeah, let's just not have it in there. So you make your cleaner's job a little bit harder, but it's 100% possible. It's 100% certainty that they're not going to ruin anything. Take that risk all day. So losing, guys, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Yeah. Now let's talk about successes. So talk about losing is part of the game, but success can blind you. Yeah. Here's one of the big lessons that I take from this one. So any of you guys who come out to Decade in a Day, you guys have the opportunity to get your hands on the financial vision sheet, right? And the financial vision sheet is your blueprint to teach you how to hit financial goals. And so in the business, we have our business vision sheet, and it teaches us how do we grow $1 million business. And then your financial vision sheet shows you how do you put $1 million in your bank account? How do you have $1 million net worth? And so in 2021, Katie and I hit our first big milestone, which we had $1 million net worth in 2021. And we're like, boom, like it was a goal that we've been working for a couple of years. most of it was acquired through real estate. And yeah, so we celebrated. We had, at this point, we had what we called carrots. And so some of you guys who did like the original Decade of Days, we used to teach this, talking about carrots. Kellen, I think you remember, like you probably remember this, but we used to have like carrots to go with our goals. We have a goal and we have a carrot that we'd go with it. And yeah, one of the carrots that Katie and I had were cars. For some reason, we wanted cars. And so, Katie, do you remember? I'm sure you remember, but when we hit this goal, um, what was our reward? What was our carrot?
Cars,
What kind of car? Sorry.
really expensive cars, six-figure cars.
Yeah, yeah, and not just one, not just two, but for some reason we'd have three of them. We'd have three very expensive cars over six figures. It was silly. It was very, very silly, but it was our goal. That was what we wanted, and we did it. And I would say, yeah,
We
I mean, there was,
quickly got out of financial freedom by
yeah,
buying these things.
yeah. Literally, the thing that got us there is that, and the carrot literally took us back out. It was so silly. We had, it was ridiculous. But anyway, um, it would have been very easy to try to hide behind the success. Like we probably could have afforded it. It probably would have been fine. But I just, I had this like pit in my stomach. I'm like, this is not right. This is not right. This is not right. And so, yeah, I mean, less than a year of having these cars, I was like, all right, Katie. And then I made this really simple. I was like, I'll sell basically my cars first, and we'll leave yours for last. And then eventually, I was like, yeah, we got to get rid of yours too. Sorry. But yeah, then we had the humility to like get out of the situation, and took some losses on that. But at the end of the day, we let the success blind us. But we also, I think this is where the second piece of this came back, is like we also realized that what we did was a mistake. And so instead of just justifying the mistake and rationalizing it, or saying, okay, we just got to make more money now, it's just like we just got to get rid of this
Or
thing.
we won't make it again.
Yeah. Or we're not going to do it again. Yeah. We actually took ownership, accountability, and we just got rid of the mistake. And yeah, it wasn't easy. And again, it wasn't easy for me to have to sell Katie on the fact that like this isn't going to make sense anymore. And we still talk about those cars, and yeah, it'd be nice to have them again one day. And it's just like, but it's not in alignment with our goals. And it's funny now because now, what are we, 5 years later, we're substantially richer, I guess, for lack of a better expression. And I would never buy those cars today, ever again. Like I'm still not like, yeah. But again, it's just, I was blinded. I was blinded by the first step of success, right? So
Julia said this in the chat, but she said success is more dangerous.
can
And
be, definitely can be,
it definitely can be.
definitely can be. So definitely can be for sure. Um, Yeah, and that's why, again, that's why like Julia specifically, like she's in that room of like all the businesses who are doing over 100K, and like that's why it's cool to be in that room and everybody who's like, I just want to get better, and rather than like, I don't have to do this, I'm good, right? Like I'm rich. I've seen your P&Ls, like you're good, right? It's like I'm good.
Layla
Um,
had a video on like when people actually buy things for status versus when they buy things because they have the money. And
mhm.
it was cool because the reason that people want the fancy cars is because they're trying to look rich to the next level of person that they're trying to aspire to be like. And it's never because it made sense. So
Yeah.
once I heard that, it was okay to let the vehicles go. Like I did this for status, not for my own personal sake.
Didn't actually solve the problem, right? Didn't actually solve the problem. So now I'll tell you what, if there is a car that's six figures that will like take my 6 year old to and from places, and it can robot taxi her around, I will definitely spend six figures on that car because it makes sense. It takes Kitty's time away from having to do anything or us having to pay someone else to take her to and fro things. Because by the way, I still value Lainey going to activities. She goes to piano, she goes to dance, she goes to gymnastics, she goes to whatever else. I can't remember what else she goes to. But like I value those things. But like it's a cost to get there. And we have a nanny who takes her to most of those things. Kitty picks her up from a couple of those things. And like I would definitely pay 100K for a car that solved the problem. So mind you, it's not about the money of the car. It's just the value that it solves. It doesn't solve a problem in this moment, right?
It
I
solved
mean,
an ego problem for me.
it's yeah, exactly. And that's not a It's not a good problem to solve.
It's
Um,
actually an unsolvable problem
it's an unsolvable
with
because it just
materialistic things,
yeah
anyways.
it's a craving. It's like a thirst that never goes away. So I,
Unsatiable.
I talked about this a couple weeks ago when I told you guys that I got diabetes, and like one of the the precursors to this whole process for me, like even going into the hospital, was like I just had this insatiable thirst that I just could not get rid of. I had like one of these water bottles next to me at all times, and I would chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it. And I could just like couldn't get rid of this thirst. And that's like that is what ego is. When you feed the ego, it's just like it's unsatiable. Like you'll never, ever, ever, ever solve that. And so that's why like to feed it, I've seen in my personal life, I've seen it hurt more than it's helped. And so I think being really conscious of like making sure things solve problems and first, and then if we happen to get the benefit of status, if we happen to get the benefit of something else, then cool. But like make sure it solves the problem first, right? And the number one problem that I think we're all solving here is financial freedom. Like that is the domino. I think if we resolve this back to like what are we actually doing here, we're all solving for one goal, and that's financial freedom. If we can solve for that goal, yeah, then you get to be who you want to be after that. Right? You actually get to like have the bandwidth, the time, and the money to be able to like do what you want without having to be compensated for it. I think that's when you really start to figure out who you are, and that's by the only way going to get there is by being humble enough to learn what is required in order to get there in the first place. Right? And so on this sheet, guys, there's one, two, three, four, five, six ways that will show you when you're not giving you examples when you're not showing the humility to learn. And so these will be updated in the notes. And so you guys can go read those. We're not gonna have time to get through them today. Yeah, if you guys are inside the free home cleaning courses group, this will be updated. James will put it in there. If you guys are inside the mentorship, these notes will be in there so you guys can go check it out. Next week, we're going to continue this theme of how do we hit unreasonable goals. Okay. If you want to hit unreasonable goals in 2026, unreasonable, courage to commit, unreasonable, humility to learn. And next week, get on next week because we have the third one. And probably you guys who've been paying attention, you know what it is. And if you don't, well, if you don't know, you'll know next week. So super appreciate you guys for showing up to these calls. Yeah, learn, guys. Have the humility to learn. Get excited about it. Be excited to be wrong. When you get excited to be wrong, that's freaking cool because you can also be excited when you're right. And then guess what? You just live life excited. Sounds like a win-win to me. So happy Monday. Appreciate you guys for showing up so much today. We'll see you guys next week, week number 99. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Appreciate you guys. Bye.